Good afternoon. Donna Lake's here with my new show called Conscious Living. And I have here a good friend of mine that is going to be joining us for the show, Justin. And he's going to help me with discussing and explaining what conscious living is like. Now, Justin works at Ascension Healing Arts Center in Southfield, as do I. And I'm going to be having various people on the show to help educate and inspire. And so he is my first guest on the show. Last week I had my very first show, and I talked a little bit about me and how I started doing what I do. And today I'm going to discuss what conscious living really is. I began to discuss that last week, but so I just wanted to explain a little bit more. And so to me, conscious living is living life with intention and with a conscious intention and with the purpose of lifting your vibration and coming up into a different level of consciousness, ideally fifth dimensional consciousness or Christ consciousness. So I am an ascension healer and teacher. And so to me, there is a cosmic picture of what ascension looks like, and there's the inner work of ascension. And I am more versed in the inner work of ascension, but I will bring people on to talk about the more cosmic aspect of ascension and explain that to you. So we're at a very interesting time in humanity, and we are ascending. The earth is ascending, humanity is ascending, the universe is ascending, everything is connected. You know, we grow and we evolve, and we have all these cycles in nature. And so we've been in a dark cycle in nature, dark meaning lacking information, lacking knowledge. And we are going from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. And now we've begun the Aquarian age. And this age is all about community and communication and enlightenment, having information and being enlightened with that information, having access to information, having understanding, having knowledge, having enlightenment. And so it is called a golden age that we are entering into, and an age of light. So just like we had the cycles of the dark ages, the middle ages, the golden ages, but this is just like a bigger version of this and a cosmic version. So that's what New Age is called. And people kind of call it like a religion, but it's not really a religion. It's more like a movement, would you say?
Yeah, movement.
I would say more like a movement. And so the old ways of being and doing are dying, and we're stepping into new ways of being and doing. So conscious living is making a conscious effort, retraining our habits, our thoughts, living with purpose, living in ways in which that lifts our vibration and keeps our vibration lifted, because we are energetic beings. And so we are made of energy, and we need to keep that vibration high. We have different levels that we can vibrate at. And though that energy, the energy that we expose ourselves to, the thoughts that we think affects our vibration, our energetic level. And so that's why we have, moods basically. So living with purpose of what we expose ourselves to, and also living with purpose to live in harmony, choosing to live in harmony with the earth, so that we live in a way that honors her, that lives in integrity with the cycles of nature, with Mother Nature, with the being Gaia, which is the earth. She is like an actual being, and living in harmony with all beings, with animals, with trees, with each other, human beings, right? So in order to do that, we first need to develop a good relationship with ourselves, And so that is where my work lies. I work with people to help them through my workshops, through my classes, through individual healings. I train healers to do the type of healing work that I do, so that we can change our thoughts, our beliefs, because we actually literally create our reality individually and collectively.
For sure.
And so we have a choice of what we experience in life. So living consciously is making the choice to create, the ultimate life that we would like to live, but also, a life that has integrity and is in harmony, so that all can prosper and all can thrive, And so some of the main things that we see in society is like survival mode, especially in America, right? The Europeans have it a little bit better, because they live with, they have more vacation time. They take siestas. They live at a pace. They stop and smell the roses a little bit better than, others. And probably I would say indigenous people as well, live a little healthier lifestyle in that sense.
We're full on rat race.
Yeah, we are like the American dream is basically survival mode. Right. And it's like, do it all yourself and have it all. And and unfortunately, we've become quite the throwaway society. I love it because Justin comes over and he fixes things for me, so I don't have to buy new things all the time. Remember we used to take things in the 50s and get things fixed, and you didn't necessarily buy something new.
Need to be thrown away now, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't have to get a new oven because he fixed the cooling fan for me. I didn't have to get a new space heater because he fixed one of my space heaters for me. So it's lovely. We need more of that. That would be an idea of conscious living, right?
Right.
Not being a throwaway society. But also we're going to have another show and he's going to probably talk more like companies that live more in integrity with the earth.
We don't have to be as wasteful. Single-use things are bad.
and there are companies out there that live with more integrity with the earth, that there's companies that are known for being very polluting, like they pollute the most, and when I learned what stores were high with pollution, then I stopped going and using those stores, and I found alternative stores. Also quality versus quantity,
right?
Getting back to quality goods, you have to pay a little bit more, but it's going to last longer and you don't have to buy a new one every 2 seconds.
But they try to stay local and not, get the mom and pops involved. And if there's a local tradesman or a craftsman that does what you want, maybe you have to pay a little more for the said item, but it's going to last,
Yeah.
trying to keep things local.
And it, supports your neighbors,
Right.
So yeah, local.
You might make a friend.
Yeah, local living, it's great. And people can even like trade and barter like stuff, sometimes we don't always have to use money, or trade and barter services. That's another way of conscious living, another point that I'd like to make. But what I really wanted to talk about in this episode is how our thoughts create. Our thoughts are vibration. Everything is energy. Everything vibrates. We are vibrational beings. Just like we have a physical body, we have an energetic anatomy too. And you've probably heard, some of these words like chakras and meridians and aura, and those all help make up our energetic anatomy. But our thoughts are things. Our thoughts create. And so a big part of conscious living is learning to change our thoughts, change our perspectives, and live from new perspectives and thoughts so that we can change our lives around us. So I want to kind of like give an example. Like, so have you ever like thought that something was going to happen or something was happening and you lived in that anxiety of it? You lived in the fear of that needlessly.
Right.
But your nervous system, your body, your mind, everything was like living as if that were happening. But it wasn't even really happening. So even if something didn't come to fruition yet in the physical, because eventually it will, whether it creates a physical illness or it creates attracting a certain type of person or situation from the way that you're thinking, from your thought or belief, because literally beliefs are what lies beneath everything. And so that's an example, right? And I know everyone's done that.
Right.
I think everybody can relate to that.
Right.
And so I wanted to use that. I thought that was a good example.
Yeah.
But, something else that I wanted to bring up that I think is very interesting and funny is that, funny or not funny, is that, how we have this like science war going on right now, how everything is divided, but by the way, because that this is a 222 year, a 6 year, people are going to start uniting. Look at what's happening in Canada.
Right.
They're coming together and they're protesting for their freedom. People are going to come together. We're not going to sit back anymore.
Right.
And we can even see it in our community at Ascension. Everybody's coming together and working together so great now. There's no disharmony. Like everybody is full on working to create the best place that we can for humanity to come and heal, and the best place for us and the best lives for ourselves. Everybody's coming together to work together to create that. Whereas before in the past, it was like, every man for themselves, kind of, I mean, we did work together somewhat, but this is the year of community. And also, Aquarian, the Aquarian energy. Didn't it just go to Capricorn to Aquarian right now?
Yeah, it's, I think you said Piscean to Aquarian.
Yeah, but that is the big scale. I'm talking about right now.
Right now?
Like right now,
sure.
I think we just entered the sign of Aquarius for the zodiac for our year. But that cycle that I'm talking about in nature, we went from Piscean age to Aquarian age. It's like, it goes backwards.
Oh, okay.
It goes backwards for some reason. And I'm not, that's something that Tiffany, when she comes on, she can probably explain that.
Right.
But I can't explain that. I don't know that science.
Yeah, that stuff's a little over me too.
But getting back to science, like what I was going to say, there's this like war with science right now, right? Well, if you study quantum physics, I'm going to suggest a movie. I suggested this to my class the other day. There's 2 movies. One is called What the Bleep Do We Know? And the second one is called Down the Rabbit Hole. They're really bits and pieces of the same movie, but they made them into like a sequel.
Okay.
And they were years apart. They came years apart. And it's all about the law of attraction. So if you don't know the law of attraction, it's what I'm talking about. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions create your reality because of the law of attraction, which is an actual physics law. And it states that like attracts like. Okay. And so, you know, when in those movies, they show that science actually changes from what we believe. It just blew my mind to watch that. And they showed us these experiments and stuff, and they had all these scientists on there talking about it. So science changes beliefs because there's no escaping these main physical laws of the universe, like, you know, like gravity, like law of attraction. Okay. And so it shows that science literally changes according to our beliefs. And we're at such a unique time because we are where we are situated, because our planet moves in the universe. Everything moves through the universe and has a route through the universe. And so where we are in the universe right now, compared to where we were in darkness. So it was like winter. We were in the winter of this 2000 some odd period of time. And now we're going into a space in the universe that creates a cycle of more light. Okay. And to me, darkness is in service to the light, and you can't have the light without the dark, and you can't have the dark without the light. And it all has purpose. And I don't try to have fear around any of it.
Right.
Because it's all God. So I just thought that was a really interesting thing to bring up. Like what that science literally can change according to our beliefs as well.
And it should change on its own as we learn more things, because we're responsible to our level of awareness. So if you didn't know about the thing before, you didn't know about it, you didn't have to take care of it. But now you know about it, so now we have to take care of it because we know about it.
Yeah.
And it's like an ongoing process. We have a bigger and bigger bucket of things that we know about that we weren't aware of before.
Yeah.
So
and you know, the one thing that we can count on is change.
Right.
And I know from studying a lot about health that many things change and they don't tell us.
Right.
Like, you know, the whole movement in the 80s of fat free, you know, what did that do? That made us fat because our bodies need fat. We need balance all the time.
Yeah, they're just trying to sell us stuff, unfortunately.
And so, like, that whole fat-free movement made us fat because then people ate more carbohydrates, they ate more sugar, and they got fat. Fat doesn't really necessarily make you fat.
Right. It's weird.
And it's not bad for your heart. You just have to eat the right types of fat and have balance with, you know, carbs, fats, proteins, enzymes. You know, it's all about the balance, right? And so everybody always goes to these extremes and then it throws everything off. Right. But so that's one thing that they discovered that they haven't corrected and put out to the public is that fat is good for you. Now, some people have in certain holistic areas of medicine, but not mainstream medicine. They haven't really taught us that, retaught us what they discovered.
Because they were pulling fat and pushing sugar. Sugar makes you it's really bad. So we're better off with
sugar is poison.
Moderation across the board.
At least that white sugar, the white sugar that's processed is poison. I always call it poison.
Well, in nature, we don't get sugar very often. You know, it's in fruits and stuff, and that's in certain times of year.
In honey and syrup and things like that we should be eating that are natural.
And it's just not as common as everything. It's not in everything. Shouldn't be.
Yeah, and sugarcane's not really that horrible, except for that it gets sprayed with a ton of pesticides, and then they take it and they break it down and they take all the nutrients out of it. But if it were real, but again, it got out of balance. We got to keep everything in balance. Conscious living is about keeping things in balance. You know, another thing that I know about is like thyroid scales. What is normal for thyroid? The scale used to be so big, and then they scaled it down. But most doctors didn't use the new scale system. Just like we were supposed to switch to the metric system, and we never really did.
Right.
And then again, they scaled down what is normal for thyroid a third time. And so it's hard to even find a doctor that uses the second scale, let alone the third scale of what normal is. So people are constantly walking around with thyroid issues and wondering why they're suffering. And they get their tests done and it's like, oh, it's normal, you know. And then again, the tests are not accurate. They do one test when there's really, you need your T4, your T3, reverse T3, reverse T4, and your TSH. And usually they just take a TSH. So there's things that are missing, say that we're not educated in, and we're not able to, find out what's going on really if we are not having all the right information shown to us. And so functional doctors, which are trained in Western medicine, but they're also trained in holistic medicine, you know, I think that's the movement where everything is going in the future is, you know, combining the two.
Right.
And that's the type of doctor that I use. And that's why I know that information. Plus, I did a lot of research myself after suffering with health issues and not getting the answers. So, you know, but also behind every illness, there's beliefs. So it comes down to beliefs and boils down to beliefs. So the belief, for example, behind thyroid is it's not safe to express. My feelings don't matter. And so people with thyroid issues often they might talk a lot, they could talk a lot, but they're not going to really talk about their feelings. They're not going to really set a boundary the way that they need to with, speaking and things like this. And that is, you know, what creates the illness is that belief. And then when you change that belief, then you can start to heal on all levels. And then also if you like, say you do a cleanse, or treat something in a physical sense, then your emotional and mental will be affected by it because everything is connected, mind, body, spirit. Everything is connected, mind, body, spirit. I have no idea how long we've been going.
20 minutes.
20? Okay, thank you. Sorry, everybody. I'm just rambling on and I got to make sure that I stay on time. Let me know for the last 3 minutes so I can give them some information on how to get a hold of us.
Sure.
So yeah, everything comes down to belief and everything is interconnected. Mind, body, spirit. So if we do something with the body, it affects our mind and our spirit. If we do something spiritual or energetic, it affects our mind and our body, you know, all of the above. You know, it's just everything's connected. But in order to fully heal from things, you have to work with all the aspects,
Yeah.
the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the spiritual aspects of the being, and address it from all angles in order to fully heal, whether it be something physical or
Right.
mental that you're healing, or emotional.
It's like in the beginning you're saying getting to know yourself and stuff, and really like being able to identify, oh, this is happening now. It's kind of like if you've ever trained a small dog. If you wait until the dog is freaking out, you're never going to calm it down. But if you realize, oh, this is the first step to it freaking out, or the second step, or the third, then I can work at calming it down and it won't freak out. And then you can kind of treat yourself that way too. Like, oh, this is happening right now. I better watch out for X, Y, and Z coming down the road because that's how I act, you know, getting to know yourself.
Yeah, understanding your cycles and
Right.
your
And honoring yourself, like you're saying, and, you know, like, I know this is best for me because this is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Not doing this because that's going to happen.
Yeah, understanding how you work and operate, because the first step in healing is like awareness.
Yeah.
And then the second step is observation, right? So, you know, becoming aware of yourself and why you act a certain way or react a certain way, or why someone else does. And then you know, really understanding why and going back to correct that. Because did you know that like all of our personalities formed by the time that we're 7 years old? We form our personality from the womb, literally, until 7. And that's when all of our beliefs, our core beliefs, are formed. And beliefs come in clusters. And we learn our beliefs from society. We learn our beliefs from our communities, our local communities, or our religion, could be our community.
Right.
Our culture could be our community, you know, our nationality or whatever.
Right.
Our family, our parents, you know, so much goes into our peers. It just so much goes into forming our personality. And so that's why inner child work is so important in changing and shifting our beliefs, because we have to go back to where they began. If we go back to where they began, you know, we can get a lot of work done right there and then. We might have to do some supporting work, because, you know, once we believe a certain way, it creates a pattern or a cycle for us. And so, you know, maybe we attract, I'll give you an example. Maybe we attract people that are not supportive. Maybe we have the belief we're not supported. I'm not supported. And then you attract people dropping the ball on you, letting you down. I can't count on people. I have to do it all myself. These are beliefs that are all kind of rolled into that. And so you attract situations like that over and over. And that's what you become like focused on. And that's what you notice. And then you keep attracting that and attracting that. And that's how you begin to see the world.
Right.
But then when you start to shift that, like I know when I began to shift that belief for me, I literally one day sat and cried, because I was like, oh my God, all these people that I didn't notice were showing up for me and being there for me, and how supported I was by God and the universe. I was like, oh my God, I took these people for granted. And then I started like reaching out and thanking people and stuff, because, you know, when you give gratitude and you're vibrating at gratitude, you get more to be grateful for.
Gratitude is the key for sure.
And gratitude can get you out of depression. Gratitude can pull you up out of any dungeon of beingness that you are in.
Transmutes a lot. It's the transmuter.
It is.
Grace and gratitude for sure.
For sure. Okay. All right. So our show is over for today. I hope you found it entertaining. And I hope you learned something. And ascensionhealingartscenter.com. If you want to find more out about us, our workshops, meditations, different healers and different holistic modalities that we offer. You can follow us on Instagram at Ascension Healing Arts or at Donna Lakes. I'm on TikTok is Donna Lakes, Facebook is Donna Lakes, and Ascension Healing Arts Center is also on Facebook. And I also have a YouTube station that I haven't done that much with, but I'm about to embark upon that a little bit more. That is also Donna Lakes. So either Donna Lakes or Ascension Healing Arts Center. And again, that's ascensionhealingartscenter.com if you want to reach us, or 888-824-1970. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you next week.